hello there. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how you can actually sign clients and monetize your audience. What that means, I'm going to teach you how to actually make money, because views ain't clients. So you're probably making tons of shorts. You'll probably got like hundreds of shorts. I've seen people that go sometimes even thousands of shorts and stuff. And you probably even get 10k to 100k plus views on your videos. However, your bank account is still the same. You don't have leads coming through consistently, if not in any leads coming through. No book calls, maybe little book calls, not that many, and probably no sales as well too. And if this is you, or maybe you are still getting some but you're not getting as much as you would like, then this is the only video you're gonna need. And it's very possible to do so, because I've had clients that have been able to get pretty good results. I have this case study video from Mike who did 10k with short form. I'll link that video in the link description so you can check it out. But before I go over how you can make money with shorts, you need to understand the conversion ladder, and this is what makes people buy. I always talk about this, so I'm going to walk you through it. So the way that this works is that it goes like this. So people have no idea who you are. They become aware of you with your content. They start to trust you. Then they start to love you, and then obviously they start to buy stuff. And every single time you buy something, you go through this ladder. No matter, the only thing that changes is how fast or how slow you go through this ladder, and that usually depends on a number of things. But usually it's the person, the product, the price, whatever. But for example, I'll give you into perspective. Let's say you get a cold call. So before, you weren't doing anything, you were probably walking, and then you just get a ring with your phone and you become a cold call. So before, you were unaware, and then you just became aware. So you start talking to the person, you start to see what they're doing, and then you start to trust them. You're like, okay, cool, I understand your thing, I know what you're doing. And then let's say after that, you start to talk to them even more, and then you start to love what they're doing, and they're like, okay, this is cool, I can see how this is helping me. And then you ultimately give them money. So if they're selling something that's like $1 and like, hey, this will change your life, just give me $1, you're like, okay, cool, I can give you $1. But you went through this whole process 5 minutes ago, you didn't even know who they were, and now you're giving them $1. So the same principle happens for every single thing you buy. I don't care if it's shoes, I don't care if it's clothes, I don't care if it's products, digital products, all that type of stuff, courses. You go through this thing, and essentially what you need to focus on, especially in this industry where I would imagine most of you watching these are coaches or consultants or even service providers, is that you need to focus on the trust part. Because essentially, if you're selling high ticket, this is the majority of where your effort to sign high tickets needs to go to. Because trust, what people try to confuse trust with is kind of giving the wife and the kids to you, but no, it's really just mainly knowing that you're competent on what you're doing, so you know exactly what you're doing. And the way that you build trust is by showcasing proof that you know what you're doing, or educating people on what you're doing, essentially. And when I say proof, some people think to themselves that, I need to have tons and tons of case studies, but no, it's not really like that. The most efficient way is actually to combine both having case studies and both having content, because there will be segments of the markets that'll be like, cool, you're seeing stuff, but who have you done this for? And then there'll be segments of okay, I see you've done this for someone, but are you doing this yourself, or how long have you been doing this, all that type of stuff. So the segments to proof, but it's still the same thing. And the proof is literally is a trust builder. So it goes back to the thing I said before, you need to be building that sort of trust. And the best way to kind of do this is that you have to combine both of them. So for example, a lead magnet basically goes over the one thing that your market cares about, and is just used to basically just bring people towards you. And that thing, and bringing people towards you, is also a form of trust, and making people trust you more. And then from there, basically the way you can do it is that you can craft a lead magnet based on this, and then give it away for free. And then the lead magnet is going to educate, build, showcase proof, build trust as you go, and just go from there, essentially. Because trust building is like a bucket. So for example, if you're making zero content and you're not building trust, this is how your bucket looks like to the market. So your market is basically your target audience, the people who you want them to give you money, essentially. So it could be executives, coaches, all that type of stuff. And then as you start to make more content, and you start to make more videos, more content, more text-based content, more emails, more lead magnets, your trust starts to build up, and people start to look at you and be like, okay, I can understand this person is competent on what they do to some level. And then from there, you get to the point where you're giving so much free value, you're giving so much stuff, and people are trusting you a lot more, that the only thing that's stopping them from giving you money is just a way to work with you. And they already know that you're competent on what you're doing. They already know the proof. They know how you do it. And now they basically just want to know how to work with you, or if there's even an option to work with you. So they want to know some sort of price or some sort of buy-in to work with you. And the exact process, the exact system that you want to do for this type of thing to make your life a lot easier is by making a ton of content. And you can do it with this. So this is the audience monetization process with a lead magnet. So essentially what you're going to do is that you're going to be making your content, and then from there you're going to send all that traffic to a free thing. And the way you craft this free thing is very specific, but I'm not going to go into it because it's going to take too long. But essentially what you want to do here is that you want this free thing to actually be value. It should be things people care about. So for example, if your offer is fitness, for example, and let's say people really care about getting six packs, then you want to make a lead magnet based on that. Because I know a lot of coaches and stuff like that, they will have lead magnets, but they won't even be good. Like they'll just be random things, like a book on how I clean my toenails last week or something like that. Like no one really cares about that stuff. You actually want to give people valuable things, and a lot of people are scared to give value because they'll be like, oh, because especially if their business is based off information, and they'll be like, oh, they're just going to implement everything. But that's why I really advise to not have a business based on information, because it becomes very tricky to give info. Because the thing about, I don't want to go on a tangent, but the thing about information is just kind of like, once someone consumes it, it loses its value, and the more people that do it, it more it loses. But with service, it's like someone pays for something to have like continuous support. So that's why I really like coaches, is because like you're paying for like continuous support on a thing which is always changing essentially. So yeah, but that's a side note. So basically what you want to do, you want to build that VSL, and then after they filled out the information, you upsell them, build more trust, maybe tell them to join a group. I would really recommend joining a group, and then even upselling them more to even book a call and stuff like that. So you want to acquire the users essentially. So now when you go back to the bucket, is that all these people who are overflowing with trust because you built this lead magnet out, so people that are in this section, is what's going to happen is that they're going to want a reason to buy with you, or they want a way to buy from you essentially. So what happens is that once people get into the spot, they're in a weird stage of kind of like, I know I need this thing, but I don't know if I want to book a call. I know I need this thing, but I don't know if I want to see how this can help me. So they're kind of like in this weird phase of just surfing. And what happens then is that those people are not going to book a call. Like I've seen many people, especially close people that I know, they'll have like a very high ticket thing, and people won't book calls, people won't buy from them. But when they host this webinar thing, which I'm going to talk about, they just get an abundance of people. Like I had a conversation with someone that recently came through a webinar that one of my friends did, and he was basically like, oh yeah, I already knew Sergio was going to have an offer. I was just ready to buy it. I just wanted to see how much it was and stuff like that. And I was like, why didn't you just book a call if you wanted to see how you can work, and if you knew that? He's been consuming the content, but he didn't buy directly from a call. He waited for a webinar to happen, and then he bought on the webinar. So I asked him, why is that the case? And he basically just said, oh, I don't know. I just felt like this was the time to buy. And that's basically what a lot of these people are out there. You might even be watching this video like this right now, and you're too scared to book a call. Well, please don't be scared to book a call. It's going to be with me, so you're going to enjoy it. Anyways, but some people are going to be scared to book a call. And the reason being is because they might not know if this is the actual solution to the problem. So the way that you can fix that is by doing a webinar. And this is kind of like a massive sales call, but you're actually giving value instead of trying to convince someone to give you money and stuff like that. But you still do that towards the end. So basically what you do from here is that you send all the traffic that you're getting into a landing page to basically book an event, and then from there you upsell them to join your Facebook group, because you want to acquire the users, you want to acquire people in your group doing things essentially, and then from there they become an added lead, and then obviously from there you start lead nurturing them until the webinar process starts. And then from there you basically, this is stuff I show my calls, but basically what I do is I help them with the webinar. I give them a plug and play system, which is basically just copy and paste from successful webinars like Russell Brunson, all that type of stuff. If you want a video on that, I can make one, whatever. But then you fill the script out, make the back end look nice. I'm not gonna go over it in this video because it's just too long, but I could probably give you free snapshots and stuff like that. And then obviously you do the webinar, and then from there you collect how much you collect. Usually our clients collect 5 figures from their main offer, and then obviously after the webinar ends, you're basically going to remarket the offer to the people who were in the call, and the people who are in the group. So this group thing is very important, because if they're not in a group, what happens is that after the webinar call, all the people who consumed your stuff are just going to be gone. But you want to keep them in a central spot so you can continuously keep marketing to them. So kind of like your own mini community. And this is a new thing that I'm starting to introduce in my offer as well too, where we help you build that mini community of people that just want to buy from you. Because what happens is that you can have people reaching out to these people like, hey, I saw you checked out this webinar thing, what did you think about the offer at the end of it? Try to get them to book calls, etc., etc. So you want to really build this type of stuff. And this is usually where most of the money is made, because what happens is that people who were on the call, and there's going to be three different types of people on webinar calls. The first person is kind of like, they just came for free information. They knew they're not going to buy it because they know they can't afford it, but they just came to just consume the information. Then the second part is the people who want to consume the information, but they have the funds to actually work with you, and they have it in their mind to actually work with you essentially. And then the third section, there's obviously different sections, but the third section is people who like, they just know what they want. They know that they have to work with you, and they just wanted to see how it's possible. So what happens is that the people that know what they want, they usually buy straight away on the call. But then the people who are thinking about it, this is where you basically remarket to them and show them the assets and basically reaffirm the decision to buy from them. And then the people who just couldn't afford it are just the guys that are not going to be able to afford it anyways. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's how you can actually sign clients and monetize your audience. It's all about, like I said, building up this bucket and using this conversion ladder, like understanding where your audience is at. Like the people who buy on webinars are usually in this phase. So it's like, and when someone is in this phase, it's so easy to convert them, because you just need to give them a reason to make them convert. Like you just need a reason. And this obviously goes back to understanding what the market wants and why the market, cares about different things. So understand these things, understand why people care about them, and then use that to your advantage by creating assets and creating videos, creating content to build that trust essentially. And then what happens from there is that you just get a lot of people that just really like working with you, and you're just going to be able to get like a ton of people that just want to buy from you. And this type of stuff is easy to understand. I know I made my visuals look super nice, like obviously look at this bucket, it's super clear. So yeah, I make my videos look really good, but this type of stuff is very easy to understand, but it's hard to execute. Because a quick understanding behind this is like, imagine a barber that created a training on how to cut hair the way that he does it. So what's going to happen is that he can give that training to like average people like me, and what's going to happen is that I'll know the exact strategy, I'll know exactly what he does, but I'm not going to be able to cut the hair the way he does it. And it could be another person, like let's say for example Matoma, a good player, he might be showing you how to dribble in expert detail, like he might make you a thesis on how to dribble, but you're not going to be able to, if you're an average person, you're not going to be able to play or do it the way that he does it. Because what happens with these type of things is that the process is there, like this stuff works, like you've probably even been sold by a system like this before, and you wouldn't even have known it. Like the process works, the proof is there, but the only issue is that you've probably got no experience, or you don't have the bandwidth to do it yourself, and you're gonna fall into one of those two categories. Because I promise you, this stuff is easy to understand, but to actually do it is so much work. Like it's so much work to build out the back end, it's so much work to build out the front end, in fact, and there's even so much work to market it, and there's so much work to remarket after the marketing is done. So it's like, you can understand this and you can want to implement this, but I guarantee you, like if you try to jump in with just this basic information, it's not going to be able to convert. And then what happens is that people get mediocre results when they try this themselves, and even worse, they start to doubt the process. They start to think, oh, this is not going to work for me, or this is not going to help me. So if you're looking to sign 5 to 10 high ticket clients with this same system I just showed you right now, visual form, and literally implement all of the mechanisms that I showed you earlier, completely by us. So you don't even do it. We don't coach you. We don't tell you go do this. We're like, cool, you've paid us, let's do this. Let's do this. Let me do this. Like, let my team do this for you. And that's actually going to help you make money, because you are completely removed from it. So your errors, your mistakes is completely removed, and you're going to let the experts take care of what they need to do. So if you want to, have systems that's actually going to help you make money instead of, helping you get views, then first link in the description is what you need. And let's see what we can do for you. Like I said, views on our clients. Check it out, and we'll speak very soon. Peace.